on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It's season 3, episode 25, man. It is Thursday, May 4th. If you're a big Star Wars fan, May the 4th be with you, man. And we are about to begin after a 2-week absence. I am freshly back from Kansas City, Missouri. Much love to everybody I ran into out there at the NFL draft. Second draft I've done. Had a pretty solid draft for the Bears. We'll get into that later into the show. I'll break that down if you want even more in-depth breakdown of what happened on the draft. Me and my brother, we have our draft pod that we recorded while we were in Kansas City, and we've got another one that's going to be dropping on Saturday morning for y'all. We break down day 2 and day 3 and what we our expectations as we get ready for OTAs and being a couple months away from training camp, man. So we'll get into all of that. You know to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barberchair Scott. You know to follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net on Twitter and Instagram. Also follow H&B Media, H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. Also subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We've got a new episode of Cinema with the Guys Up, breaking down episodes 5 and 6 of Succession, season 4. And of course, we got a new episode of Summer Sessions that is up right now. So check all that up. I want once to give you a shout out to everybody who pulled up in Chicago to the Barbershop Network first annual NFL Draft Watch Party. Packed crowd out there. We appreciate everybody who pulled up. Appreciate our partners at Haymarket Pub and Brewery, man. So stay tuned. We got a lot more stuff dropping with them, a lot more events coming with them. So stay tuned on the bcnet.com. We got a guest later in the show coming up really after this first segment. The homie Waz will be joining me in 1 second. But before we get into that, let's get into my sound off, man. And for my sound off, I just want to give a real nigga salute today. I want to give 2 real nigga salutes today. One to Joel Embiid for winning his MVP, man. I guess the reign of international players winning MVP, David Stern's dream, is continuing. It is continuing once again as he wins MVP this year. He had an amazing year. This is probably the best Philly team that I've seen in a minute. We're going to get into that series later into the show. So salute to him. I'm glad he's back out there playing game 2 last night. So big shout out to Joel Embiid, man. He was finished runner-up the last couple years. So it's good to see him come back and actually win that one. And now they got a shot. They got a shot to get to the NBA Finals. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that. And for my second real nigga salute, this is a conversation, a topic we've been talking about on this show. I feel like for the last 3 or 4 months, that is on Mr. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. We can officially say the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens has signed a new contract finally. 5 years, $260 million. He has made him the highest paid player in NFL history. Jalen Hurts' reign as the highest paid player lasted 1 week. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for actually getting the job done. Shout out to Lamar. And the Ravens did a good thing too about surrounding with some talent. Finally, they signed Odell Beckham Jr. They drafted Zay Flowers, a real great receiver from Florida State, somebody who I wanted on the Bears too, which really wasn't a problem. We had a couple others too, but I think that's going to be a nice little receiving core for Lamar out there. I still stand on my belief that he should have got an agent. I'm not going to back down just because he finally got his contract. I think this thing could have been sped up months in advance if he did do so, man. But shout out to him. Now he can actually just focus on football. He can get in with his teammates and really just, you know what I'm saying, get ready for this upcoming NFL season, man. So I want to give 2 real nigga salutes to those 2 gentlemen right now, man. So right now we're going to bring in a guest, man. It's our first guest we've had in a couple months, man. It's been, you know, it's kind of hard with the schedule to book people, man. But we got the homie Waz here.
Yo, what's going
good, brother? What's going on, brother?
I'm chilling, man. Can't complain. Happy to be on with you guys.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you on as usual. We always, you know, our friendship started with basketball. I feel like over almost 10 years ago now on Twitter. You know, time flies.
Yeah.
With the OG Miami Heat and
of course.
Chicago Bulls battles.
Of course. A lot of Carlos Boozer chatter back in those days.
A lot of Boozer chatter. A lot of, man, what we gonna do?
Kirk Heinrich chatter.
Yes. Yeah, Marcus Teague. Yeah, we can be here all goddamn day. But Wise, for those who don't know, of course, you podcasting with the Ringer. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You got a new podcast called Group Chat, or you just making an appearance on there? I watched a couple.
Nah, I'm on group chat. Group chat is what I do.
Okay.
Every single week over there on the Ringer NBA show every Wednesday, and then on Fridays during the regular season, I was doing weekends with Waz where I would just have a guest, talk to them about the NBA. But now that it's playoffs, we just go to straight 2 group chats a week because you know the playoff shit is nonstop, especially in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, definitely, man. So get in tune with his. We're gonna put the link in the description later on, so y'all can get in tune with everything he's doing, man. But let's get into some NBA talk, man. We are here tonight. Is Game 2 of Warriors Lakers. Big W for the Lakers in Game 1. Anthony Davis, massive game, 30 points, 30 points, 23 rebounds. Just an incredible game. Now. Of course, we know your lineage of being a massive LeBron fan. You know, I feel like it's calmed down a little bit.
It's calmed down probably since like 2014, right? Yeah. Like once he went back to Cleveland, the Cleveland shit was just corny to me. I was just like, oh, this is corny. These coming home, all of that narrative, Dan Gilbert, like old racist face ass. I was like, yo, I'm good off of this Cleveland shit. To the point where, I didn't even think they was going to win in 2016, but I was happy when it happened. I thought it was like, I feel like it's the signature moment of his career, that 2016 finals, more so than anything that's ever happened to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like definitely when he gets a statue outside of Cleveland, it's going to be that block 100%. Everybody knows my history as a proud LeBron James hater. LeBron James hated class of 2002.
Bruh. So people gotta know, like Scott, of course, being a Kobe disciple. I don't know how you go from Mike to Kobe. That's crazy. That's crazy. Just to one. That's crazy.
It's not that crazy.
It's crazy.
It's not that crazy. When I saw him go up against Mike, I was 10 when they had that.
It would be like if you went from Big to Gorilla Black or something like that.
Oh, wow. This show's over, folks.
No, I'm kidding. Don't come at me, Kobe people. That's just a joke. But no, so because Scott was a big Kobe guy first, obviously people don't remember the LeBron and Kobe wars. They don't remember how nasty that would get. It was worse than Jay-Z and Nas. It was worse than Drake and Kendrick. It was a blood war between the Bron faction and the Kobe faction. And then, of course, the Bulls finally become relevant again because they stunk up the joint pretty much the entire time after Mike left. It was crazy how bad those teams were. And then they became great. And then the only thing stopping them was fucking LeBron James. Yeah. So the hate just escalated.
It escalated to a point. And it's like, when people ask me, like, why you not a LeBron fan? Now, I'm going to do what Stephen A. does. I don't know the brother personally. Like, I've been around him a couple times. I've been within the same vicinity as LeBron a couple times. I heard he's a great guy. I'm just talking about on the court. Now, when you talk about my proud Mamba disciple, it all started. I was like 12, 13 when I first heard LeBron James. And I was like, man, why the fuck they keep talking about him when Kobe's in the league? That was literally my first reaction. So it's been on site since. Now, my hate has actually evolved. I don't really have a problem with him.
It's been fan base. It's been 20 years at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to hold the genuine hate for 20 years. Although I retained some of my stuff for Tom Brady, even as he was retiring. As a Jets fan, it's just like I don't think I'll ever hate an athlete as much as I've hated Tom Brady over the years. Like, I don't think it's possible. I'm too old to care as much as I did back in those days. But yeah, I get it. Over 20 years, you move on. You know what I mean? You evolve.
Yeah, I don't really care about him more. Like, it's really his fans I like to troll. And like you said, like when you get older, I don't care about these debates, bro. Like,
it's hard.
He can win 8 rings. He's not better than Mike to me. You're not going to change my mind.
At a certain point, it's hard to get up when you got bills every first of the month. You know what I mean? It's hard to get up for these debates.
With all the stuff we do in media, it's like, once I became like part of the media, I see like the work that goes into it. It's hard for me to be the super crazy
It's
fan
too
that I
much.
used to be.
It's just too
Yeah.
much, and actually do the job. Like if you want to be good at the job, you have to
You have to tone it
take your
down.
mind off of hate.
Yes.
As much as we don't want to.
you have to be realistic. But
Yeah.
let's talk about current LeBron and with this series, man. This is a series that everybody's been hyping up. I'm sure
Yeah.
NBA is loving. Steph LeBron Vol.5. I called it. It's like when Brock and Austin met at WrestleMania 19 for the last time. Ali Frazier 3.
Yeah.
My question for you before we get real with the actual game is like, what do you think like the legacy of this rivalry is going to be? I tweeted something that's kind of like this generation's Bird Magic a little bit. Do you?
Yeah,
think
I think that's what it is, honestly. I think Steph is LeBron's most worthy foil, right? He never got to play Kobe in the finals. They didn't play in the playoffs because they played in opposite conferences. KD is just like barely a peer. He's like kind of too much younger than LeBron to have been a peer. Although that felt like the natural sort of thing. And then Steph just like the thing about it is the opposing stories, right? It's like, whereas Kobe, Bron, KD are all wing players, Steph is this little guard. He's got NBA lineage. Bron is like this big guy from poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron being this child prodigy, Steph having to slum it in fucking Davidson.
Yeah.
Years. Okay, like it's just the story was just so different, and when they finally met, it's just contrasting styles. It's like this paint dominant player versus 3-point shooter. Like the story around it was so compelling, and then the basketball itself actually delivered incredible drama.
Yeah,
just incredible drama. In 2015, I thought delivered a nice amount of drama, even though by the end, it was clear that Cleveland didn't have the horses to get it done with the injuries to Kev Love and Kyrie. But 2016 was just, I don't know how it gets more dramatic than that. Like, honestly, I think like Mike's last shot was just, chef's
that game 7 is, in my opinion, now my favorite game 7 ever is Lakers Kings 2002.
Got you.
It's like, it's up there. Like that last 5-6 minutes nobody was scoring.
Bruh. Heart attack stuff. It was crazy. And so like the fact that they delivered to me a high that the sport has been chasing ever since, right? As far as a moment, a historic moment, to me, that's who LeBron, people are gonna think about as the LeBron sort of rival when he's finally finished with this thing. It's gonna be Steph.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to me, it's kind of like this one to me I won't say it has the less pressure because, of course, both teams trying to go to the Western Conference Finals. And I do think the winner of this, as much as I want to believe in Denver, and I said on Ball Don't Lie, I think they can win the NBA championship, but I still got to see it.
I picked Denver to go to the finals before the season, and I feel mighty
really good about it.
I feel so good about it, dude.
I feel really good, but the guy that that we're gonna talk about, Anthony Davis, is making me reconsider. But
sure,
with this thing, I feel like there's the less pressure as far as legacy is concerned, because both of these brothers are set. Like loss or win forever isn't gonna change the trajectory really of either. And I feel like there's a mutual respect. I don't think that they ever hated each other, but there was that competitive.
Bron was annoyed by all the love Steph was getting, because let's face it, as much as I love Bron, he's an attention whore.
Oh, 100%.
He loves the attention. He loves the adulation. He loves leading Sports Center. He loves leading First Take. He loves being the front page of ESPN.com, Bleacher, whatever you call it. And he started noticing that Steph was getting all of that. Yeah. And he was like, yo, what the fuck? This nigga could come through 1 year and just take all my shit.
Yeah.
And he felt the way, like he obviously felt the way, right? Yeah. And so there was some bitterness there. That's what I would call it. It was bitter. It's not like Steph did something personally to him. He was just bitter about the positive coverage, you know what I'm saying? And of Steph mania, like people showing up 2 hours before the game to watch this man take practice shots.
That ain't stopped. I almost had to elbow some little kids a couple weeks ago when they came to Staples against the Clippers. Like, I was like, get y'all kids, man. Like,
So I know that kind of got on LeBron's nerve, but yeah, I think you're right that over the years he's definitely when LeBron goes on the shopping, like who could you see yourself playing with like a superstar? They always ask about the super team. He said, "Oh, Steph, easily, Steph." So that's the ultimate. Like he's giving it up to him. Like Steph, you have my ultimate respect.
I mean, even like when they won game 1, I don't know if you saw his interview with one of the Lakers reporters, and he looked like, I feel like that PTSD stuff playing up a little bit. He said, man, we ain't did nothing yet. He's like, I don't give a damn. This Oracle and Chase, they got the same colors, same
Yeah.
Son,
it's scary. It's scary. You're watching your 14-point lead just evaporate in what feels like a matter of seconds. Yeah. It's gotta be scary, dude.
And if Jordan Poole just moves up a couple feet,
he could have took one dribble.
Situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I don't know who you picked in this series. What do you think for?
I picked Golden State at 7. Golden State for sure. 7. Yeah,
same pick I had. What do you think the Warriors need to do tonight to be able to tie this series up before they head to Staples? Because I feel like strategy-wise, ain't too much you can do to stop AD if he's really on top of his game.
Yeah, I think they could be more. I think they need to try to keep Draymond on AD as much as possible. But the Lakers, I don't know that there's a lot they could do because the Lakers don't rely on LeBron to create everything no more, right? And so if Steph or Jordan Poole or whoever their weakest link defender is, they'd be like, all right, you got somebody good on Russell, we're going to swing it to Austin Reeves. Or if we like LeBron's matchup, we're going to do that. Like they have so many ways to create and start offense. I don't know that there's much they could do in that way, right? I think they need to challenge LeBron to try to beat them one-on-one more because he's so obviously limited. So I think that's something they could do. I think if you trust Looney, just put Draymond on LeBron and keep it pushing. But the problem was that is, again, LeBron has no problem just fading into the corner and letting his other guys cook. And now you got your best defender wasting his time on a dude that's out of the play, right? And so I don't know that there's a lot of defensive adjustments. I think the Lakers are just going to miss more because they've been a poor shooting team all year. But they've got, their shooting is better now. I think it's going to be a couple of games before they hone in on exactly how they want to play these guys, but I think they're going to continue to foul these dudes because the Lakers are kind of bigger than them and more physical than them at the positions that aren't Looney. And I think it's going to be difficult, but the Lakers are not going to like blow these guys' doors off. They don't have some like explosive offense. A lot of their stuff they do need to generate in the run game, in transition and shit like that. So I don't know. I think there's a lot to be done there.
Yeah, even if you look at last series, like it was a 6-game series, they could have easily won 7 if the Memphis Grizzlies weren't probably the second dumbest team in basketball.
Yes,
the dumbest team in basketball is the Minnesota
Timberwolves. It's not even. That's not even. That's just easy.
They're in the same neighborhood though.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Warriors aren't going to make those mental mistakes, man. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Let's move on to the East Coast real quick. You are a proud New Yorker, Queens.
Of course. Queens, big
got
Queens,
a lot of love for Queens. That's probably my favorite borough. Shout
why,
out, man.
why say that?
It's just chill, man. It's chill.
It is.
And, it's like far away from the madness, but not too far away from the madness.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely more residential, what I'm saying? Less buildings and all of that. It's cool. It's the little suburb of New York City for Showski. And if you're not really trying to deal with all of that foot traffic and all the crazy shit that be going on in Manhattan and in a lot of parts of Brooklyn, Queens is definitely where to fall back to.
And one of my favorite sitcoms is The King of Queens. So shout out my man Doug Heffernan. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I fuck with Queens. But let's talk about the Knicks. I think now you are a New Yorker, but you are not a Knicks fan.
I'm not a Knicks fan, no.
I
want to see the Knicks do well,
Yeah. I think as a Chicago Bulls fan, I was born to hate the Knicks.
That was, of course.
If you were born in the late 80s,
that's
Jordan don't like them niggas, and neither should you.
Yeah. That's easy. That was just obvious. Yeah.
There was 2 things I learned when I was a kid: fuck the Packers, and we don't like the Knicks. Now, of course, the bad boy Pistons. I still hold a grudge against everybody on them, and I was like 2 when the little
Right.
walk-off thing happened. But what do you think about the Knicks, like, kind of revival that they've had this season, this particular series, and just like I want to say like the arrival of Jalen Brunson, because we kind of saw it last year against Utah, but like just really what they're doing this season in this series against Miami?
I think we got to give some love and some credit to your man Tibbs for what he's done with the group, in the sense that the team sort of takes on his identity. Like, these guys scrappy as fucking hell on defense. They run, like, these guys hustle. They run after every single freaking defensive basket. And yeah, they just got a never say die attitude. I like the way he's unleashed Mitchell Robinson to me, because like that dude has been a revelation just on the glass. He's fucking, nobody could box the dude out apparently, and you know he'll finish at the cup on lobs and things of that nature. So Julius Randle, that thing could have easily gone astray after he got his money and stunk up the joint last year. Yeah. And somehow they found a way to get another all-star season out of him. And, you know, the way he's empowered and deployed Jalen Brunson with freedom, because that's not really what we associate with a lot of Tibbs basketball is freedom, but he's giving Brunson freedom to sort of put his imprint. Yeah, exactly. He's giving him freedom to put his imprint on the offense and sort of do his thing, man. So obviously, I foolishly thought they would lose in 5 games to Cleveland in the first round. I'm not of the mindset that this is a championship contending team, right? I think they need a couple more blue chipper to join the core of this roster, but you can't argue with the results, bro. Like, this is a really solid ass team. Yeah. You can't just show up and play the Knicks and think you're gonna beat them. Like, you have to play your best to beat these guys, no matter what team you are. Yeah. You can't give a half-ass effort to beat the Knicks. And that's just an incredible thing to say after the decades of mediocrity and outright just trash that has been the Knicks. And so I'm proud of the bunch. I'm happy for my friends and family who root for the team, and they got a real shot of going to the conference finals, which is just something that I just couldn't even fathom. Yeah. I couldn't even fathom before the season started. You know what I mean? Like, just in October, I would have been like, bro, conference, like, what crack are you smoking?
And like, you know what I do admire about Knicks fans, and I always say that the Chicago Bears are like the football Knicks because it's a legendary franchise. Right. Diehard fans. The arena is more famous, maybe a little bit than the team. Yeah. And, you know, they have that championship that they've been hanging on for 40 years and the same shit. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
just the optimism, just optimistic. Yeah. It's just they always think things are going to work out. But I'll say this, though. There are two kind of Knick fans. There is eternal optimist, and then Knick fan who's just like, this shit ain't going to work out. It's not going to work out. That Knick fan exists. That Knick fan is jaded enough to understand that they remember the Patrick Ewing finger roll. They remember John Starks going 2 for 17. You know, they remember Tim Duncan, like barely a fresh pup in the league, just crushing their hopes. Reggie Miller, you
double know, nickel.
Oh my God.
They were here all day. Kobe 55, 59, Bron 61. Steph's first big moment.
Yeah. Steph became Steph in the Garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody who's around that team talks about that game is when he realized it was like Spider-Man realizing that like he could throw the web. It's like, yo, bro, like he became Steph in that
like
fucking
a regular
moment.
Ass Wednesday in like 2011 or some shit like that. Like, it was just random as hell. But with the Heat, Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler. Everybody knows I love Jimmy. I've been a fan of Jimmy since he had fucked up haircut playing Taylor Swift at the Birdo Center and shit. But even I didn't see this. What do you think?
Seen this?
Yeah, I didn't see him being. What do you think like gets into like Jimmy Butler when playoff time comes? This is a team that if DeMar DeRozan didn't realize that maybe I should pass the ball in that second play-in game, they might not be here. To being here to being 1-1 and you know, a chance to go to the conference finals.
In fairness, though, we forget, but they made the conference finals and almost won it last year. They took the Celtics to 7 games in that series. Two of those games, Jimmy Butler was Michael Jordan. Remember that Jimmy Jordan joke on Twitter back in the days? Like, no, he was legitimately unstoppable for 2 of those games. It's just this season they were very hurt, and a lot of their role guys just didn't play as well. Like Caleb Martin and Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, they spent the regular season just not being as good as they were last year. And then, of course, every year we deal with the inevitable Jimmy injury. I just think everything's come together in the playoffs where they got most, if not all, of their guys back, excluding Tyler Hero. And Jimmy is just, he seems to just save himself for the playoffs, like the most unstoppable, ridiculous version of himself for the playoffs. And I'm watching these games, Scott. You can't put one guy on this dude.
You can't. Yeah.
And Giannis, I don't care. Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton. Yo, Drew Holiday. It was disgusting what he was doing.
And he was talking to Drew Holiday. Why they went down?
Lord, it was disrespectful.
I own you. Down 8.
That was the anti-Memphis, right? Yeah. Memphis only does it. They the front running, hot dogging. Oh, we made some threes. We up 9. Oh, we hot dogging.
We're gonna do the
no. Jimmy's like, no, I'm coming back right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kick Drew Holiday's ass up and down the floor. He's allegedly the best perimeter defender this fucking league has to offer. And I'm just going to kill him. It was crazy, bro. And then game 1, he was great again. Yeah. Up until he tweaked his ankle, he was great again. And so, I don't know, man. Like, I got the utmost respect for that guy.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect Jimmy, man. Just his work ethic, and I'm still mad at the trade, but eventually I'll get over it. But one last question before we get you out here is kind of like a rapid fire question, man. You just talked about like your faith in the Denver Nuggets, so we're kind of like this is the most March Madness NBA playoffs I've ever seen in my life.
Felt like that, yeah.
I mean, we got a 6 and 7 matchup in the second round. Yeah. So out of the 8 teams left, who do you trust the most to win the NBA championship this year?
I trust the Denver Nuggets the most. Even though I think Golden State's a horrible matchup for them, I just think what they do is, one, I tell people this, they have the best unit in the NBA in the sense that their offense, to me, I'll take that unit over anybody else's offense or anybody else's defense. They have the best unit in the league. And I don't think there's a defense out there that can just stop what they do, or even slow it down, to be honest. Because I think game 2 they didn't score, but Jamal Murray missed like 6 wide open threes.
Threes.
He makes like 3 of those, and it's like, oh, he's 3 for 10 from 3. And this is not even this game is over by the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? So to me, they got what they do just travels. Golden State's going to give them problems on defense, a lot of problems if they make it to that round. But Golden State will not stop Jokic. They will not.
Do you think the Lakers present a different challenge compared to Golden State?
I just think what AD's defensive strengths are built to neutralize wing attacks. Yeah. Like he could switch on to any wing if the Lakers game plan asks him to do that, or little like wing size players coming to the rack. I could meet you by the 3-point line and just shadow you, to the point where you don't even want to take the shot by the time I get there. Jokic is not doing that. Yeah. He's just gonna put his big old arms and chests and ass
style hooping.
That's it. He's gonna use his strength to outstrength AD, and I don't think AD can guard him.
Yeah,
in that sense, and which means what? Blake is gonna have to send help. And that's,
and that's gonna leave KCP.
It's nasty. You've been watching it. You've been watching it.
And that's why, my faith in them is growing by each game.
It's like, just watch it. Like, so the first game, Jokic was chilling.
Yeah.
He's doing his assist thing, his teamwork thing, 2-man game with Jamal Murray. He's like, I'm good. I don't need to be the focal point.
Yeah.
You saw Phoenix start loading up on guys like Murray, loading up on shooters, and he's like, oh, you want me to cook DeAndre Ayton 101? You smoked that fool. Yeah. Ben Smack Biyombo come in the game. Smoke him too. Yeah. Don't even think about putting the white boy Lansdale in. Like, I'm gonna kill this guy. So it's like, there's no matchup for this kid. Yeah. You have to either you're not guarding him with one man, and he's the best passer in the conversation with the Brons, the Magics, the whoever you want to put in there. He's in that convo with them. you know, and they finally got the defensive pieces because let's be real, his defense is a limitation.
Very questionable.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard for him to get lateral movement. Golden State is gonna set screens on Steph's guy starting at like 30 feet. You know what I mean? And they're gonna dare Jokic to try to step out there and figure out something to do, right? Like Denver's gonna have to figure out a way to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But on offense, they're gonna get buckets every single night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Definitely, man. I 100% agree with that. Is the defense. I'm gonna get into it later into the show more in depth, man. But it's just really been like fun to watch because they've been I know a lot of people like to slam to Denver, but they ain't been healthy either. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't been healthy, like outside of the bubble, which I call a government experiment, which I'm not gonna get into.
Here you go. Here you go.
Here
you go.
No,
Here he goes, guys. Here he goes, guys.
So
here he goes.
But it's always good to talk hoops with you, bro. I said I need you on 15 minutes, end up being 30. We could talk all day on it, but
all good, brother.
Let the people know where they can get in tune with you, where they can find a group and everything you're doing.
Yeah, the Ringer NBA podcast, wherever you get podcasts. Check me out on Instagram at Big Wos. Also on the Bill Simmons podcast, of course. I make frequent appearances on that. If you're listening to this, you probably already listening to Bill fucking Simmons and his millions of listeners every single week.
One of the godfathers of this.
The guy who invented the platform that we are now doing right now. Exactly. That guy.
Definitely, man. Shout out to Bill Simmons, man. And bro, thank you for coming on, bro. It's always good to talk to you as usual, G.
All right, salute y'all.
Yes, sir, bro. So we're gonna get right into, we were just talking about Nuggets and Suns. So I want to get a little bit more in depth on that series. Of course, the Nuggets are up 2-0. Game 3 is going to be on we're looking at it right. It's gonna be on Sunday? No, I'm tweaking right. Friday, tomorrow. It's gonna be tomorrow. Game 3 is tomorrow in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, Chris Paul is going to be out. Chris Paul is going to be out for this game, which of course he has a growing tightness, and you know what I'm saying. That's I want to say it's a big blow for them for the simple fact of just because they need a point guard. Like Chris Paul hasn't been what he's been in the past. That the defense is all the way gone. That mid-range jumper isn't what it used to be. But I think when you saw in the last couple minutes of game 2, when it was still a close game, as soon as CP3 went out, there was no offensive rhythm. Dudes were just chucking shots. I don't know where the hell KD went. And they were just really just out there just playing random basketball. So I think just by not having Chris Paul on the court, that's going to really fuck up their offense in a situation right now when they need some cohesive offense. When you're down 0-2 to a team that is as loaded and plays as good defense as the Denver Nuggets. Now, we keep going on with the Phoenix Suns. The problem has been, like I said a couple weeks ago, the minutes. It's just KD and Booker. I'm not saying they're running on fumes. They don't look tired. But when you're out there averaging 40, 45 minutes a game because your roster isn't as deep as it needs to be, that's not going to really, fare in your favor. And that's something we've seen over this series and even a little bit in the Clippers series. And I fully believe that even if Kawhi Leonard, they didn't even need Paul George. After the first 3 games of that series I saw, if Kawhi Leonard didn't get hurt, I fully believe that they win that series. And this is something where that's something that happens when you do that trade. You do the trade 30 times out of 30 to get a player of the caliber of Kevin Durant. You're going to have to give up some depth pieces. You're going to have to give up the Mikal Bridges. You're going to give up the Cam Johnsons, and you're going to feel that. But there's also things that Monty Williams should be doing better. I don't know why Terrence Ross isn't getting some more playing time. They need to just stagger the minutes as much as they can to give these guys breathing room. But I think the fact of the matter right here is basically, it's there's nothing you can do. They're running into a brick wall right now. We're running into a brick wall, and I feel like they're going to be able to get a game in this series, but this is just something where it's just not good matchup-wise for them, man. And the way Jokic has been playing is just like what Waz was just saying not too long ago. The way he's been playing, there's no answer for it. I mean, he had 39, 16, and 5 in game 2 after chilling for game 1. And even in game 1, they got big buckets from Jamal Murray, got big buckets from Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and KCP, man. KCP has been great. 14 points in game 2. He's been automatic from 3-point line. He's been playing great defense. And this kind of feels like this is Denver's time, and Phoenix is just a small roadblock in their way through the Western Conference, man. So I don't think it's going to get much better for the Suns, even though they do have home court for these next 2 games, man. Now, if we see on the on the on the rundown, we have Kings Warriors, but we're not going to talk about that. Just a little mistake, but we're going to talk about Celtics Sixers, man. This week, game 3 is tomorrow night. And the thing about this series, to me, is I haven't seen anything with the Boston Celtics where I feel like they need to be playing the way they need to be playing. And that's an issue. This is a team where last year they, of course, we all know the story. They got to the NBA Finals, lost to the Warriors. They weren't able to, I don't feel like take that next lead. I feel like in the majority of the regular season, they looked like they were on, on cruise control of getting back to the NBA Finals. But now it's like they're kind of playing down to the competition a little bit. They had no business being in a 6-game series with the Atlanta Hawks. They had no business losing game 1 when Joel Embiid was on the bench. And now they went out there, proved themselves last night in game 2, massive blowout victory. That game was over about mid-third quarter, honestly. But this one to me right here is where you're seeing, really just I feel like the things that the consistency that the Sixers don't have. Now, the consistency we're talking about is James Harden had 45 points in game 1. He was spectacular. But last night, he only has 12 points on 2-14 shooting, over 16 from 3, and he only had 4 assists. That's a massive problem. And to be able to beat the Boston Celtics, you're going to need to be on your best game every night. There's no room for lacking in this series. And I applaud Joel Embiid for trying to play through it. And I don't know if he looked like he was still hurting last night, even though we 100% know that he is hurting. It just looked like he was trying to still, get his feet under him. It's been almost 2 weeks since he's played. Kind of feel like he was a little rusty. Only had 15 points and 4 of 9 shooting, 3 rebounds. But he didn't play that much either because it was also a blowout. But I feel like they're in a good spot. They still went and got a split. And if you're the road team, that's all you want to do. There's going to be a loud crowd at Wells Fargo this weekend, especially with Joel Embiid going to be getting the MVP award presented to him. But the Celtics, man, their time is right now. There's no excuse for them not to get to the NBA Finals with the Milwaukee Bucks being eliminated. That was a team that I had not only coming out the East, but winning the whole damn thing. And they made me look foolish in the Milwaukee Bucks. And also, Coach Bud was fired today, and I think that was long overdue. I feel like the championship was the only thing to save them. I've never seen a coach, in my opinion, have that least. Like, he didn't really do, I won't say he wouldn't do shit, but like he really didn't do that much when it came to what they had to do to win that championship 2 years ago. So I feel like that's a change that needed to happen for them. But for the Celtics, this is your time. This is your time right now. And if they don't, get to the NBA Finals and win a championship this year, there's going to be some massive discussions going on. We all know that, I feel Jaylen Brown is just chomping at the bit to get the fuck up out of Boston, and this will really speed this process up. But I do think this is going to be a long series. I do think Philly has enough fight in them, and it's up for Celtics right now to really prove to everybody that last night wasn't a fluke. We can go out and do these to these dudes every night, man. So I'm really, looking forward to see the rest of this series, man. Let's switch it over to football real quick. We're going to recap the Bears draft. Like I said, if you want more in depth on the NFL draft, check out this weekend's episode of 79th and Hollis, which will be dropping on Saturday morning. Very successful draft to me for the Bears, man. The Bears had 10 draft picks. They did 2 trades. They traded back from the original pick of pick 9 and trading back one spot to pick number 10 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I was at the draft in Kansas City. I really, really wanted the Bears to draft Jalen Carter at number 1. I understood why they did not. A team like the Eagles, who are a contender, just came off, being in a Super Bowl. They have a lot of vets on that team. They have the culture and the situation to be able to make a gamble like Jalen Carter. If it doesn't work out for him, if he's a bust or, it doesn't work out in a locker room, they can just cut their losses and keep moving on just because of the culture they built and the players they got in that building. The Bears can't do that. They can't afford to draft the player as talented as he is. And everything that I'm saying, I probably still would have drafted them anyway. But as we've learned from Ryan Poles, not just in his post-draft press conference, but just the things he said and done since he's been a general manager of the Bears last year. He really cares about character and things like that. So the Bears couldn't afford for a guy like Jalen Carter to be a bust with all the holes they got on this team and at the current state of this rebuild, man. So instead of that, they drafted offensive lineman, right tackle Darnell Wright from the University of Tennessee. This guy was a top 3 ranked offensive lineman coming into this draft. He fills a position that the Bears desperately need. And this makes, in my opinion, what was the worst offensive line in football last year. Justin Fields has been sacked over 100 times in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. I remember being in these interview rooms, in these press conference rooms this season, and Justin would take 45 to 50 minutes to get to the podium because he's still trying to, get himself to walk to the podium. I think those days are going to be close to ending. Now you have a solid group over here. When you got the Tevin Jenkins, if he can stay healthy, you've got a Braxton Jones, who I feel had a so-so rookie year, but a player who the front office has a lot of belief in. The coaches love a lot, and he's going to come in right there left tackle. You added Nate Jones, who you signed this offseason, and then you add Darnell Wright to this. Now you have the makings of a line right here, and I feel like that was a really good move for them. And, Paris Johnson Jr. went earlier to the Arizona Cardinals. I'm glad they didn't get that dude from Northwestern, Peter Skoronski. I want no Northwestern players on my football team, so I'm glad that did not happen, but that was a good start to it. Now, I'm just going to name the 10 picks. I'm not going to go through all of, what the strengths and everything like that. We'll save that for 7 night to Hallis. But the number 2 pick they took in round 2, pick 53, they got defensive lineman Gervon Dexter from the University of Florida. Tyreek Stevenson, they drafted in round 2, pick 56. He is a cornerback from the University of Miami. Number 4, at round 3, pick 64, they drafted Zach Pickens, defensive lineman from the University of South Carolina. Number 5, in round 4, they drafted Roschon Johnson, who was the backup to Bijan in Texas. He's a guy where I feel like if he wasn't, not just me, but a lot of scouts feel like if he wasn't backing up Bijan, and he would have been even higher. He probably would have won the second round. This is a guy who Bijan said himself that he feels is just as good as him, and I feel like this is going to be a guy that's going to slot right in with the Bears are running. Number 6, they drafted Tyler Scott, wide receiver from the University of Cincinnati in the 4th round, pick 133. Then in the 5th round, pick 148, they drafted Noah Sewell. He is linebacker of University of Oregon. Of course, his brother is Panay. He's in Detroit, offensive lineman out there. Terrell Smith, cornerback, University of Minnesota. Travis Bell, defensive lineman from Kennesaw State. Kennesaw, home of Justin Fields. And then with the final pick, they drafted defensive back Kendall Williamson from Stanford. Man, now out of these picks, the ones that stand out to me the most outside of Darnell Wright, I would say I love the Tyreek Stevenson draft pick. He was one of the most highest ranked corners coming out of the U this year. This is a position where it's not a position of quote unquote need, because I feel like the secondary is probably their best solidified part of the field on that defense. When you have the Eddie Jacksons and you got the good rookie seasons that Jaquan Brisker and my man Kyler Gordon had this year, and Jalen Johnson. But I do feel like this is a guy who can come in there and he can take the cornerback number 2 role. And I ain't got to see, no more of the backups in there. I don't need to see any more of that. And that's going to help Kyler Gordon just stick in and stay right there and play nickel. That's something I'm really looking forward to seeing right there. I love all the defensive line picks. Now, they didn't really focus on edge in this draft. They didn't draft a defensive end. I do think they're going to still take care of that in these next couple of weeks with these, staggered late, time of free agency. There's still a couple guys out there, a couple of vets they can get. Tyler Scott, Roschon Johnson. I think Roschon Johnson has a really good chance to be the number 1 running back on this depth chart. He's going to be joining the running game of Khalil Herbert, Dante Freeman, who they just signed from Carolina. That's going to be a nice 3-back system. Of course, when you got Justin Fields, that's a 4-man rushing attack right there. And I do think he's got a really good chance, if not to break camp as the number 1 running back, to at least be running back by at least the first quarter of the season. And Tyler Scott, speed. As a wide receiver is what you need. He joins a much revamped wide receiving core. Not only did the Bears have the worst offensive line last year, they had the worst wide receiving core in the NFL last year. When they had, Darnell Mooney was the best. Chase Claypool came towards the end of the season, really didn't get acclimated to the offensive system. You had guys like Equanimous St. Brown, Dante Pettis, Velas Jones. There's other guys, but now you've got, of course, you've got Darnell Mooney. You've got Chase Claypool. You traded for your number one receiver, DJ Moore. And now you're adding this speedy guy in Tyler Scott to that receiving core. You got the big tight ends in Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan, who they just signed over from the Green Bay Packers. Now you got yourself actual legit options. And I know I saw a couple Bears fans out there saying, well, this means that maybe somebody's going to be gone. And this is how you know that Bears fans have been stuck in offensive purgatory our entire lives, because they forget that in today's NFL, you should have 5 legit wide receivers. And this is a guy who I feel like can come in and fill that role. And let's just say they don't sign bring back Darnell Mooney or Chase Claypool next year, and they do get a top 5 draft pick that they'll get from Carolina, and they go out there and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe they let one of those 2 guys walk. He's going to fit right in there too. So I really, really like those picks. A lot of these others are real depth signings, and I really feel like finally we're seeing what Ryan Poles is trying to do. We're seeing the vision that he's been putting together. I said last year, around this time last year, that the Bears were intentionally tanking. Nobody wanted to hear me, but it was clear as day. Now you're seeing what exactly that he has in mind. And I'm really, really excited. And this is not just my usual delusional Bears fan optimism excited. This is my actual football mind excited. I really love what the Bears are building here. This is us. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs this year. I'm not saying they're going to win a division this year. But with Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC North, and you got Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins being, I guess, like the flag holders of the North, I guess you want to say that, because we still need to see more from Justin Fields. I think this division is going to go down to the last week, and I think the Bears really have a chance to really like build something special here, to where it's not just something where it's a 1 or 2 year thing. They can build a legit culture and really finally take over this division, man. So I loved everything that Ryan Poles did this past week. Real fun. We're going to break this down even more on 79th and Hollis that will drop this weekend. And also reports from the Chicago Tribune, the Bears have filed paperwork to begin demolition on the the Arlington racetrack. So they're going to be officially starting on the new stadium soon. Very excited about that news for Bears fans, man. So we're gonna wrap this up. Before I get to my Goofy Mog of the week, I just want to give y'all some weekend predictions of how I think this week's games are gonna go. Tonight, of course, is game 2, Warriors-Lakers. I think the Warriors will find a way to win tonight, and they will tie this series heading to Staples Center on Saturday. Celtics and Sixers is on tomorrow night in Philadelphia. I think the Celtics are gonna go out there. They're gonna win again. They're gonna take a 2-1 lead. Suns and Nuggets, I do think the Suns equal out. I think this will be their only win of the series, but I think they're going to win game 3 on Saturday. A nice little doubleheader, game 3 between the Knicks and the Heat. Everybody's expecting Jimmy Butler to play and be back in the lineup. Now, how effective he will be, who knows, because we all know the ankle sprains are a bitch, and you really can't judge how you're going to play on them. But I do think the Heat will have enough to win this. They almost had a good chance to leave MSG up 2-0, so I think they'll win game 3. And I do think the Lakers will bounce back and win a game 3 at the crib, and they'll take a 2-1 lead over the Warriors. Sixers, Celtics, I think the Sixers will bounce back, win that one, and then we'll be heading back to Boston 2-2 in a 3-game series. Then the last game of the weekend, I think the Nuggets will go up 3-1 and be able to close this one out back at the crib and give themselves a nice little rest for the Western Conference Finals, because I think Warriors and Lakers is going to go the distance, man. So that's what I've got for this weekend's game, and I'm gonna wrap it up with my Goofy Mog of the week. I feel like I've had this dude my Goofy Mog of the week my whole life, but Jerry Reinsdorf, man, he had a press conference. I wasn't even press conference, but he was like on a panel. It looked like one of them TED Talk type panels, and he was on there with A-Rod and like a couple other sports owners. And he really just went up there and he kind of was like, in my opinion, mocking fans and really just like really explaining why he's a cheap ass owner. And I'm not gonna really say what I really feel about him, because it's, God don't like ugly, and I feel like I don't want to say the real thing that's on my mind about this dude. But if you feel that way about the team, about the fans, and saying, oh, if you finish second or third place, that's really all they want, I think it's fucking ridiculous, and I think they should sell them. He should sell both of his fucking teams. Now, that's a fucking pipe dream. I don't think that's gonna happen. After he's 84, 85 years old, I think he's going to live a long time, because pieces of shit usually do live a long fucking time, man. But I think he got to go. He got to go. I'm just going to leave it at that. Jerry Reinsdorf got to fucking go, man. He's been bringing hell to Chicago sports fans in both baseball and basketball. He really only got lucky twice with Michael Jordan. He just got gift wrapped, the greatest player of all fucking time, and then all the right pieces hit in 2005 for the White Sox to win the World Series, and they've only been to the playoffs one time since. Yeah, I'm not counting 2020 and that little bullshit bubble that they had. Only made the playoffs one time. This is the only franchise in Major League history that's not made the playoffs in 3 consecutive years. Never happened. And it's all because of that bum-ass owner. You need to sell the fucking team, fucking clown. Now, I could go more. I want to go more, but I'm going to stop right now before I say some shit that I don't need to be saying. But that is all we got for y'all today on I'm Not Going to Hold You. We will be back next week. These playoff series are going to be going every other day, so these series should be ending next week or coming to a conclusion next week, man. So once again, shout out my homie Wos for joining me today. Great conversation with him. You can check out him on the Ringer podcast with group chat. Check that out. You know to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarberChat Scott. Follow the Barbers Chat Network at Barbers Chat Net. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network. Follow HB Media at HB Media TV on Twitter. Visit bcnet.com, man. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to my super producer, Pappy. And we'll holler at y'all next week, man. We out.
Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna